All righty, guys. Happy Martin Luther King Day. And I first want to take a moment and say, Tammy, I think everyone feels the same in that we are all with you and praying for you and showering you with love and support, and to please use us as a tool to get through this tough part in life. And I feel like there's a lot more of this type of thing going on now, and it's a tough time. And that's what I love about this group, is that we're so supportive of each other in a very positive light, and it brings people together. So I just wanted to put that out there as well. And this week, we're going to talk about two things. For sure, talking about the liver flush details, because some of you are going to be starting the liver pills. But first, what I want to talk about is gut pathogens. And I'm very specific with some of the foods I tell you to eat and not to eat. And you think to yourself, well, gosh, I thought those foods were healthy. Why is she telling me not to eat them? And I've been on this journey for over 15 years, and there have been years where I'm sitting there going, I don't get it. My stomach's bloated, I'm constipated, I have diarrhea, all of these issues, brain fog. And I don't know anyone that's eating cleaner or more strict with their diet than me. And it's very, very frustrating. So the reason in getting down into the detail of the quote unquote healthy poisonous foods for your body is for you to be able to be your own doctor, to say, God, I'm really doing all the right things, but I guess maybe that feta cheese on my salad that is totally ketogenic is not okay for my gut because I can't do dairy. Or maybe it's something else. And maybe it's just that we need to heal the gut and then we're okay eating this stuff. A lot of what I'm going to talk about today is based on the studies of Terry Cochran, and she really changed my life over a year ago, because she taught me about the different types of proteins. She taught me about sulfur vegetables and oxalates, and that you could and why I did not feel good on a high-fat ketogenic diet. I've been in a ketogenic state since 2015, but I knew intuitively that I did not do well on a high fat diet full of olive oil and avocados and all of these healthy fats. It didn't work for me, and there's a reason. So the health industry focuses on healing leaky gut, and I talked about leaky gut over the last couple of weeks, and I have the new leaky gut bundle that has done wonders for people. Oh my goodness. For instance, Jack Walker, he came to me and he has been suffering from gut issues for 30 years and has been to multiple different practitioners. He tried a vegan diet. He's tried everything. Within 3 days of doing my cleanse, the Ascent Diet Cleanse, he felt like a new person. So he did that back, I think, in October or November, and has just been progressing. It's been cumulative, just feeling better. He didn't start the leaky gut bundle until a week or 2 weeks ago and said, I can't believe the difference this is making in my gut. He's sleeping better than ever. And it just is getting better and better. And for me too, it's been an answer to my prayers. So that is something that I want to point out, that if you are still suffering from gut issues, and gut issues means that you could be having arthritic pain or brain fog. It just doesn't mean constipation and bloat and those issues. The gut is where all autoimmune issues stem from, and nerve issues and brain issues. So the leaky gut is a major key to your health. So a lot of these foods that we talk about in this group is, we all know to get rid of the processed foods and the high sugar and the high carbs. But what does that mean? There is, proteins that we're looking at. We've got fats and vegetables. Those three things are the macros that everyone says, oh, you're healthy. Just eat those macros and you'll be good. Well, some of these foods in the fats, proteins, and vegetables groups can lead to food poisoning or an overgrowth of the wrong bacteria and a compromised immune system. So it's something that you have to really dive deep into, and you might think it's frustrating and you might think that you're being limited too much. But when you then can look at a list of other foods that you can actually eat, your eyes are wide open going, oh, I can get really creative with these other foods and still make my banana bread that is ketogenic and is not poisoning my gut. So the other things that can cause an overgrowth of bad gut bacteria in the body are stress, those healthy foods that we're going to talk about, and the pathogens, the bacteria and the candida. So for me, for instance, I would eat chicken and it would trip up my system and cause E. coli to overtake my whole gut. Now, the chicken may not have had E. coli in it, and the chicken may not have been a problem for anyone else in my family, but I was susceptible to it, and I had leaky gut, where it does a domino effect of then causing food poisoning in my system. And I literally would look like I was 9 months pregnant. So what happens is the standard American diet based on chicken and conventional beef, because those are ketogenic foods, remember, processed foods, vegetable oils, which are ketogenic foods, and the vegetables that are in the sulfur group, like broccoli, cauliflower, cabbage, bok choy, garlic, onions, egg yolks, those are all sulfur foods. And the oxalate families, almond flour, almond milk, all the things that people switch to when they want to go on a low carb diet, those are full of oxalates. Chocolate, berries is a low carb fruit that a lot of people use as their sweet treat on a ketogenic diet. They will trigger this domino effect leading to the overgrowth of pathogens. And you may have bloat, diarrhea, constipation, brain fog, and dysbiosis. So how does this work? It's a little bit scientific, but hopefully you can follow along. And I recommend listening to this again so you really get in your mind what is going on in the body. So this is how it works. Number one, the amyloids, which are amyloid proteins, they come in all chicken. So organic, grass-fed, get it off the farm, whatever, it doesn't matter. It's in every single chicken. And then conventional beef. These amyloid proteins, number one, cannot be broken down. And the way the body uses proteins in the body is it breaks down proteins into amino acids, then puts the amino acids back together like a puzzle and says, oh, we need these 3 amino acids to go to our leg muscle. So it puts those together and it sends it to where it needs to go, where the amyloid proteins never break down. And then they get deposited in the brain for Alzheimer's and dementia and other brain diseases, or in the tissues, in the thyroid, causes Hashimoto's thyroid issues, causes pain and other issues in the joints. So these amyloid proteins are very damaging to the body. And on a side note, the other thing that is extremely dangerous with inflammatory foods is this imbalance of omega-6 fatty acids to omega-3 fatty acids. Omega-3s are the healthy oils in the fish that really reduce inflammation. Omega-6 is an inflammatory. A fish, wild fish, or even a grass-fed, grass-finished beef would be a ratio 1-to-1. A chicken has the ratio from omega-3s to omega-6s is 1-to-17, 17 times more inflammatory. That's chicken. You get to the canola oil, the peanut oil, the other vegetable oils, that's 70-to-1. So that is 70 times more inflammatory than wild meat like deer, elk, bison, lamb, wild fish, Those are the good animal proteins to look at. Conventional beef, I think it's like 10-1. So it's not even as bad as chicken. So if you were at a restaurant, all your choices are chicken or conventional beef. You always want to go with a conventional beef or vegan. That's when you want to go vegan and just not even have any of the protein and stock up on your protein at a later date. But these amyloid proteins strengthen this protein coat known as a biofilm around infectious and bad viruses or bacteria, making them stronger. So E. coli and Salmonella, for example, and the Candida. So the amyloids are protecting that, okay? Then those viruses and bacteria and other gut pathogens grow stronger and more resilient against the immune system, and the immune system has a harder time fighting them. As a result, the biofilm and bacterial overgrowth throw the gut microbiome out of balance and leads to the holes in the intestinal lining, also known as leaky gut. So with leaky gut, imagine your intestinal lining's like a fishnet where proteins and even healthy foods can get right through the holes and into the bloodstream. Then the body says, oh my gosh, I don't recognize what's just entered the bloodstream. Let's have a huge inflammatory response. And that's the immune system, autoimmune system, just going, whoo, what's going on here? And that's leaky gut. So then the body's further stressed out as it attempts to address the amyloid and pathogens entering the bloodstream through the permeable gut. Okay, so then that stress weakens the gut integrity and the intestinal barrier, increases the strength and overabundance of pathogens. So you see how it's a domino effect, but then it's getting worse and worse and worse. And then the pathogens on their own produce more amyloid structures, and it becomes a vicious cycle. So now not only are you taking in the amyloid proteins from the chicken and the conventional beef, but your body from the pathogens getting a stronger hold on your immune system is actually producing more amyloids. And then this is going to be just a continual vicious cycle. So that what are the 4 foods that are quote unquote healthy and ketogenic that can cause a rise in gut pathogens? Proteins. Okay, so our genetics, well, first I want to talk about this. Our genetics provide a blueprint of what we're capable of becoming in both a positive and negative way. If your grandparents or your parents had cancer or Alzheimer's or heart disease, does that mean that you're destined? Absolutely not. 80% of what your destination will be health-wise is determined by your environment and your lifestyle and the way you take care of your body. So it's really important to say, I'm in control. I'm totally in control of my health and whatever I decide to do with it. Poor absorption of nutrients along with the stress can result in the activation of bad pathogens and a negative expression of our genes, which will further compromise the immune system and gut health. This makes us more vulnerable to the gut disruptors. And so it is really important and a lot easier said than done to manage your stress. And I always talk about going for walks, making sure you're sleeping, exercise, not too much exercise, and making sure that your stress level is under control. It is not easy to do, especially in 2022. So I say this and I work very hard at it, and you need to find out what the things are in your life that trigger stress and that help calm it down, because it's super important. When you are stressed, cortisol and epinephrine go up, it increases insulin, it increases ghrelin. Ghrelin's your hunger hormone, insulin's your fat storage hormone. People will say, I don't understand why I can't lose weight, and they're not eating anything healthy, not healthy. It's because of the stress load. Stress affects your sleep. It affects your hormones. And I don't think I need to preach too much on that, because we all know what the effects are of stress. And you just need to find those daily things that help lower your stress. But what is in control is the poor diet. And to make sure that you're in control of your diet and taking an active role in getting rid of these even healthy ketogenic foods that are poison to your body. So what can stop that gut pathogen overgrowth in your body? Number one, eliminate the foods that contain those amyloid proteins. Okay, so what are they? They are the conventional chicken and even the organic chicken. And turkey does have them. Turkey's less offensive than the chicken. So if you have a choice, you go with the turkey, but still I stay away from both of them. Isn't it ironic that 20 years ago, both of those were the healthy white meats and they're low fat and that's what everyone eats. But now restaurants are getting smarter and incorporating some of these wild meats. So we want to get rid of these because the amyloid proteins, the body can't break them down into those usable amino acids, and they're deposited in the brain and other tissues. And this is where you get Alzheimer's and Parkinson's and the brain diseases. So these amyloid proteins protect those bad pathogens, leading to an overgrowth of the bad bacteria, candida, fungus, and those things in the gut. And pork as well. Pork actually, there's a reason that some of these religions stay away from certain foods. It's not just to punish people that are religious. There is a reason that people don't eat pork. Personally, I've gotten parasites from pork. Pork has parasites in it. Pigs don't sweat. Just think about that for a minute. Pigs don't sweat, so their toxins stay in their body. Now, there is pork that is a lot cleaner and wild raised and healthier than other pork. But just in general, chicken, all chicken, conventional beef, pork, and turkey have these amyloid proteins. Number two, so what do you eat? You eat wild organic animal protein. The wild organic protein not only doesn't have the amyloid proteins in them, but it is truly the most nutrient-dense source of food on the planet. When you compare bison or lamb or even organic grass-fed beef to kale and blueberries and these vegan foods that are touted as the most superfoods out there, they have more nutrients in them, more vitamin Bs, the iron. If you try to get iron from vegan sources, your body actually can't absorb it very well. The nutrients from animal protein is in the right ratios where your body says, oh, I love this, I want it, take it in, and it breaks it down and easily uses all those nutrients. Some of the best sources: bison, lamb, deer, elk, Cornish game hen, duck, pheasant, wild fish. Now, something really cool that we did last week with Denise on the Genius Insight app that is on my phone, and I'm using it right now, is we created a custom library with all these foods in it, including organic chicken. And when she scanned the group, if any of you missed it, organic chicken was one of the high ones that everyone was allergic to. So it was scanned and you can find out. So the great thing about this Genius app is that you might find out that you're okay with turkey, but you're not okay with the chicken, or your body really loves the bison and lamb. And I know for me, my body just digests bison and lamb so easily, and I feel my best. And wild fish. Now, some people have a hard time with if you have too fatty a fish, and we're going to talk about fat in a minute. But the amino acids in the animal proteins are the building blocks for muscle, connective tissue, bones, even the collagen. We talk about how important collagen is, especially as we get older. And I use the liquid BioCell collagen that I have on my website. But what else is animal protein has carnosine, carnitine, collagen, all of these nutrients, the chondroitin, all within the animal. And you're getting it all in a way that is packaged that your body uses it and wants it the same way. So it's not like taking a collagen supplement and then a vitamin B supplement and then, you know, your vitamin A and E. It's all in the meat, and that your body absorbs it so much easier. The other thing about animal protein is, I would say 90% of you would like to lose a little weight, or fat at least, and food addiction and constantly thinking about food, that's the way our society is. And most people want to satiate that feeling and actually focus on life. Imagine if you didn't think about food all day. And hopefully most of you who are taking accelerated keto and have started doing the acceleridine and the silver and the supplements, you're feeling that switch where, gosh, I've got all this energy physically and mentally. Let's go do life. Let's go on a run. Let's go do more work. Let's go spend some time with our family. Let's just feel good and not think about what's my next meal? How many calories do I get to eat? What am I going to do next? Well, this is why. When you eat animal protein, a hormone in the gut called CCK is released that signals to the brain that your appetite is satisfied and prevents you from overeating. This comes from the amino acids and omega-3 fatty acids, which comes from fish. So I always tell people to eat their protein on their plate first. Even if it's full with salad and grilled vegetables or whatever they have on their plate, when you eat that animal protein or the fish first, your brain says, oh, I'm good. I've just got a ton of nutrients. I don't need more food. Tell me who out of you has actually binged on a ribeye steak or 3 pieces of salmon. Have you ever? No, because the body and the brain says, I'm good, I'm full. But can you sit down and eat a bag of potato chips or a carton of ice cream? Yeah, I can, for sure. I mean, I can even eat a couple pieces of salmon and go, oh my gosh, I'm so full. And then I start on the ice cream and my brain says, oh, I really like that. And I'm going to make you a lot hungrier right now. And the signaling gets flipped in a different direction. Something else that we've talked about in the past is when you are craving sugar, a lot of times you're actually craving salt and the brain gets it flipped around. And so that's where the accelerated ancient salt and all of the electrolytes, the Olaloa, the quintessential 0.9 accelerated ancient salt are so key to make sure that you're getting the minerals and electrolytes to tell your brain, I'm good. Because think about it, if you're really hungry and your body's saying, go get food, go get food, go get food, stop thinking about anything but the food, your brain is searching for nutrients. It's not searching for calories. You've got plenty of calories to burn on your body. So it's not that, it's searching for the nutrients. Okay, so that CCK hormone is really important, and we're getting that trigger from the wild animal protein. Number 3, you want to eliminate the oxalate foods. And I had to learn this the hard way last year. I was oxalate dumping and I was passing a kidney stone. Oxalates are the cause of kidney stones, of thyroiditis or Hashimoto's. Anyone with a slow thyroid, oxalates love to find their place and just deposit in their thyroid. And they love to stay in your joints, and that's what's causing arthritic pain. So if you have arthritic pain, if you've got slow thyroid, if you've got skin rashes or kidney stones retaining water, it could very well be from oxalates. And oxalic acid is a naturally occurring molecule, but it's toxic and corrosive, and it attaches itself to things like calcium, magnesium, potassium, or sodium, and becomes that oxalate in the body. And they're in the foods like almonds, spinach, kale, Swiss chard, most nuts, especially the almonds, berries, and especially peanuts, berries, and chocolate. They can cause the thyroid disease, urogenital issues, arthritis, joint pain, kidney stones, gout, and so many more diseases. And they can also clog detoxification pathways, leading to dysbiosis, bloat, and other issues. So oxalates are in a lot of healthy foods. I mean, I just named off all foods that are ketogenic and very popular foods that people eat when they're on a low carb diet. We need to get rid of these foods out of our diet. And if you're having symptoms that you're dumping these oxalates, you want to refer back to my article about oxalates, because you actually don't want to go to completely 100% eliminating all oxalates, because your body will then dump them all, and it can be a little bit of a painful situation. The problem with oxalates too is it takes years actually to get them out of your body. If you stop eating sugar today, the sugar is going to be out of your body in a day. When you're talking about oxalates, it can take years, which is unfortunate. So even with my kids, even though they don't have issues with oxalates, I tell them, be careful, don't eat too many. You definitely do not want to be juicing vegetables. I mean, imagine if you're celery juicing. If you're celery juicing, you're having a lot of oxalates. Your body's meant to have 1 or 2 sticks of celery, right? That's a normal thing. And nature built it that way, so our bodies will have the fiber to tell us to stop eating. And a lot of people are putting kale and some of these other vegetables that are full of oxalates, and now I'm going to talk about sulfur in these juices without the fiber, and you've got this huge pact of plant poisons that's hitting your body all at once because it's been juiced. So next is the sulfur foods. This is something that I have major issues with. And in my genetic code, Terry said, Sarah, most people have 2 genes that make them sulfur compromised. You have 6. So if garlic is there on your plate, you run as fast as you can away from it. And that was the worst thing I could hear, because I was putting garlic on everything I ate. So that was no fun, but I can tell you I feel a ton better. Sulfur is a compound found in medications, even health supplements. So there were supplements I was taking that has sulfur in it. So you want to look for that. These foods are kale as well. So kale's got oxalates and sulfur, and we call it killer kale for that reason. Broccoli, cauliflower, bok choy, egg yolks, garlic, onions, and these can lead to Crohn's disease, ulcerative colitis, arthritis, and mental issues, brain fog. And so this is where you want to make sure to stop the green juicing. That's not going to help, because a lot of them do have these sulfuric ingredients in them. And then what's more is gluten, found in grains of wheat, rye, barley. They're all sprayed typically with glyphosate or Roundup, and this is contributing to the disruption of sulfur metabolism. Even our organic crops are getting the overspray of glyphosate, and it's affecting everybody. Mycotoxins are found in crops of corn, soy, peanuts, and other legumes, and they can also affect the sulfur processing in the body. And when this pathway is disrupted, we feel sick, stressed, tired. We're more apt to suffer from the gut issues and mental health and autoimmune issues. Depression, that's a problem from the mycotoxins as well. So these healthy foods are creating a complete disruption in the detoxification pathway. So once you heal your gut, your body may be able to detox a certain amount of sulfur or oxalates in a day, but if you're overburdening it, it's going to break down that system, and then it just stops working and then backs up. Now, what also is really important through this whole process is your liver function, because your liver is where all your detoxifications pathways are, and helps break down these toxins and the foods. And that's also where your your thyroid hormones flip from inactive to active. So the liver health is absolutely imperative to keep healthy. And that's why I recommend doing the liver flush 3 to 4 times a year. Once you do it the first 2 times or so, it's super easy to do, not a big deal. Okay, next, too much dietary fat. So here we are, we're on a ketogenic diet. Aren't you supposed to eat a ton of fat? No, proper fat metabolism and absorption are critical for the brain and cognitive function. So yes, we need it, but we need the healthy fats. And also consuming a diet high in fat can cause genetically vulnerable people like me to become fat malabsorbed, which creates a state of not being able to metabolize fat at all. And the liver becomes clogged and intoxicates the whole system. So some signs that you are fat malabsorbed: your stool is floating in the toilet. You get bumps on the back of your arms. You just feel nauseous when you're eating fat. And I a lot of times also it's caused because someone hasn't done a liver flush and they've got a ton of liver and gallstones just sitting there inhibiting good quality fat breakdown, and the liver can't do its job. So to compound the issue, if someone's in a constant state of stress, which I don't know who isn't, a chronic secretion of epinephrine, which is your stress hormone, or cortisol, it is a fat-based hormone that can slow the processing of fat. So this is where the vicious cycle, and it makes it worse. It does this by wreaking havoc on the integrity of your whole digestive system and immune system, and the fat malabsorption issue gets worse and worse and worse. And as a result of this chain reaction, the gut permeability or leaky gut and the clogged liver and your hormones and will all become a problem, and you'll get acne even. A lot of people will say after the liver flush, their skin clears up, their eyes get wider. There's a reason, because your body's able to break down these fats. If these symptoms sound familiar, you want to focus on lean wild animal proteins, and your body's going to use your own body fat stores to be in ketosis. So you take the accelerated keto in the morning to kick yourself into ketosis. You intermittent fast to ride that out, and having a leaner cut of meat and not adding a ton of fat into your diet, you're going to be using your own fat stores to stay in ketosis. The protein's going to be there to build your body back up, your tissues, your muscles, your brain, and you'll feel so much better. And then once you heal, you'll be able to actually eat more fat and digest it much more easily. Next, you want to reduce your exposure to toxins. Now, this is a lot easier said than done. Radiation, heavy metals, household products, GMOs from our food, they all contribute to that leaky gut. And we're not going to be able to completely avoid them unless you move to Wisconsin on a farm and you're out. And even then, I don't know if it's completely void of all of these toxins. But as much as you can, you want to eat organic whole food. Limit your time on your smart devices and computers. Drink, clean filtered water. Utilize organic cleaning products in your, dish soap and your laundry detergent. All those things are really important. And you want to avoid other radiation sources. That's where the Nuke No More and the Acceleradine come in, because they're going to help detox you from the radiation. And they're also going to protect you. So if you're saturated with the Acceleradine, your cells won't absorb those heavy metals and radiation. They'll just kick them out of your body. I have someone that just went through surgery, and she hadn't been doing the Nuke No More, and she hadn't really been doing the Acceleradine. And so she started them up. And she says, is it normal for my sweat to smell like heavy metals? I said, well, you're kicking out a lot of heavy metals right now. And yeah, it is. And even as much detoxing as I do on a daily basis, when I do the liver pills, it kicks my detox up another notch, and my sweat smells, as if I'm taking out or getting rid of a lot more toxins. So it works. And that's a good sign. Obviously, it's not fun to smell, but for me, I like it because at least I know it's actually working. And then, of course, reduce those chronic stress triggers. It kills. It just really kills the body. And I just can't stress enough to really try to manage it. It increases systemic inflammation, blood sugar, increases leaky gut, increases all autoimmune symptoms. And, you know, there's prayer, meditation, yoga, breathing, exercise, reading. All those things are good tools to use. So what supplements can help heal the gut and fight the gut pathogens? The Wild-Lytes. So why I like Wild-Lytes so much, it's an electrolyte formula, and it targets the stress and inflammation, adrenal fatigue, and immune disruption at the cellular level. But it does not have anything that is going to trip up the sulfur and oxalate detoxification pathways. In actuality, it helps open those things up. That I use Wild-Lytes and Quintessential 0.9 and the accelerated ancient salt, all to help with my hydrations at the cellular level. And then the accelerated leaky gut bundle, which includes the Megaspore, Mega Pre, and the Mega Mucosa. And these three products literally seal that leaky gut. And I am just beyond excited by the way it makes me feel. The Megaspore probiotic is very different than the typical probiotic. And if you've been one of my clients for years, you will notice that I'm going to be starting to not carry some of the other probiotics because this works so much better. It gets down into the gut and remains dormant until it reaches that place where it needs to become active in the human gastrointestinal tract. Most probiotics, by the time they get down there, they're dead, they're useless. And that's what's so great about it. It's meant to recondition the gut instead of reseeding it with some of the probiotic strains that can't survive digestion or the colonization in the gut. And then the Mega Pre is there to actually feed the probiotics or the spores from the Megaspore, and it reinforces that beneficial microbial change. And then the Mega Mucosa helps support the mucosal lining of the body or the intestines to help build that so that your gut is sealed and you're getting rid of that leaky gut so much faster. Then also the accelerated cellular detox powder. This helps coat the stomach and intestinal lining, reducing inflammation, helps with bloat and regularity, and alleviates issues like Crohn's disease and colitis. It also soaks up all the toxins throughout the day that cause leaky gut. And it's also enhanced with scalar frequencies to help absorb the heavy metals, radiation, and even pesticides that we're being bombarded with on a daily basis. So it takes that burden down. Berberine Hcl. I love this supplement, and I talked to Sean Wells on my radio show about the benefits of berberine. Everybody should be taking this, but especially if you have insulin resistance or diabetes. Berberine also supports that normal glucose and lipid metabolism or fat metabolism, keeping insulin and blood glucose in a healthy range, and it helps digestion, which in turn helps keep the gut pathogens from becoming out of control. The X39 patch. This patch activates the body's stem cell production by elevating that GHK copper peptide for regeneration and repair. And that also applies to your gut. It resets over 4,000 genes to a younger state. So think about what your digestion was like during your 20s versus what it is now. And it also helps repair collagen in all the tissues, which is part of the issue with when you have leaky gut or these gut pathogens. Your body's not absorbing nutrients, including collagen. So this is helping repair collagen on top of getting the right nutrients from your foods. It helps strengthen the immune system and heal the gut. and you get that inflammation reduction, wound healing, better sleep, just feeling better. And with that also is the energy enhancer patch. And this helps increase circulation and your qi in Chinese medicine, or your life force. It helps with nausea, reflux, improves that digestion by strengthening and tonifying the organs, including your spleen. You know, your spleen is the battery pack to your digestion. So when your spleen is weak, there's no good like strength in that digestive system, if that makes sense. So it also helps drain the dampness and the phlegm out of the body in Chinese medicine. Super important. This is one of my favorite patches because it just gives me mental, physical energy, and it increases caloric burn by 300 calories a day, supposedly. It also helps burn fat and use into usable energy. So those are my tips on the gut pathogens. I hope that made it a little more understandable as far as what it means when I say don't eat this protein, eat that protein, and you know, beans and grains, those are quote unquote healthy foods. Those are full of the lectins and the sulfurs and the mycotoxins and mold, things that are going to cause an overgrowth of these gut bacteria. It's no fun. Believe me, you're sitting there, you're limiting your calories, you think you're eating healthy, and your body's not working for you. I want you to have the feeling that your body's working for you and you are on the same team. And that's what I think you'll get by doing, following this type of eating. So now I want to switch to the liver flush, because for those of you doing the cleanse, you may be starting the liver pills, and it's super easy. You're going to take 4 Liverol Forte and 2 malic acid. I don't have the malic acid with me, but here is the Liverol Forte. You're going to do those 3 times a day. And what happens is the malic acid goes with the liver pills, and it says, oh, okay, liver pills, let's go to your liver. And the malic acid starts breaking down and softening the liver and gallstones. So you take these pills for 2 weeks, and you're prepping your body to let go of these stones. But in the beginning, we need to soften them to make them easier to pass. The detox powder, you need to make sure you're taking as well, which you already are, but it's imperative that you're taking that at night to help soak up the toxins and take off the burden off of the liver and the kidneys. What are you eating? It's really important to eat the way we just talked about. Organic foods as much as you can, because any non-organic food is going to burden the liver. And right now we want to, you know, take the brakes off on the liver and let the liver just really have an easier time. You also want to make sure you're not doing any of the bad fats, the processed fats. And if you have a hard time digesting fat, you want to stick to a leaner diet. Now, if you find no problem with fats, then that's fine. Olive oil is great for your liver. You know, the animal proteins that we've talked about are in the fats, and the animal proteins are totally fine. A lot of green vegetables, the vegetables that are good for everybody: asparagus, romaine lettuce, butter lettuce, celery, cucumbers, artichoke. Artichoke is really good for the liver. So I know artichokes and asparagus are more expensive than most vegetables, but they are great for liver health. So you're going to abstain from beef and pork for sure, and margarine, which I don't even know if people eat margarine anymore, but I have to say that. And you want to stay away from those for the 2 weeks. And of course, alcohol, because we're trying to take it easy on our liver, right? And, you know, incorporate your intermittent fasting and a low carb diet. When you do the pills, I recommend you do your first dose sometime during your intermittent fasting window. The second dose, I want you to do 30 minutes before your first or second meal. The reason being, if you do the second dose or 2 doses back to back within an intermittent fasting window, you may get nauseous because it really is stirring up your liver. So to combat that nausea, you can take it a little closer to your food. So about 30 minutes before your first or second meal. The last dose, super easy. You're going to take it with your detox drink at night. And that's a no-brainer. And it's great because then the liver's being cleansed as you're sleeping. Let's see here. Then when you set yourself up for your day 14 is what I'm going to call it, and you can be doing these liver pills for as long as you want. You could say, I'm going to do it for 3 months. That's totally fine. You just have to at least do 14 days on the liver pills before the flush to give it time to soften those stones. So the longer you do it, the softer those stones will be. On day 13, so the day before you do the olive oil drink, that's when you turn to a vegan diet. And I really don't care if you're keto or not, but it's more vegan. And that's because we want to stay away from animal protein and any saturated fats. We really want to make it easy on the liver just to prep it for the next day. The next day, you're allowed to have a no-fat breakfast. But I can tell you, if you've been intermittent fasting and on the accelerated keto, you will feel better if you actually just fast, because you're in ketosis and your body's burning the fat on your body. And you can have your coffee. Coffee's great for the liver. So on that last day, you can have your coffee, the accelerated keto, the acceleradine, the silver, even the electrolytes that you're doing. And then you're going to stop. Let's see, if you set up your drink, your olive oil drink, which is 5 ounces of olive oil, 2 grapefruit, organic, of course, 2 lemons and 1 lime. That drink, let's say we set it up at 6 p.m. for our bedtime, then that means you're going to do at 2 o'clock, you're going to start the Mago 7. Okay, and this is all written down in the instructions. So if you don't have the email with the instructions, just send me an email and I will send them to you. But you're not going to eat anything or drink anything but water after 10 a.m. So you're going to go from 10 a.m. till 6 with nothing but Mago 7. So at 10 a.m. you stop doing drinking or eating anything. And then 4 hours later, at 2 p.m., you're going to take 1 tablespoon of Mago 7, the powder, or you can take about 20 to 25 pills of the Mago 7. Now, I don't like the powder, so I'm happy taking as many pills as you tell me to take. Some people like the powder better, and it's not a big deal. Really, it's about 50-50 what people prefer. And then you're going to take a second dose of that 2 hours later at 4 o'clock. And then you're going to set yourself up for that drink at 6 o'clock. You can make this time slot anytime you want. You can set it up so you do the drink at 3 in the afternoon or at 10 at night, whatever works in your lifestyle, okay? All I want to make sure you know is that once you start taking the magnesium makes you tired. So don't think that you're going to do a big work deal or a paper or something that you're focusing on and need brain power once you start taking the magnesium. Maybe the first dose is fine, but the second dose you'll want to just kind of lay low or be easy, and you might start going to the bathroom. When you do the drink, do it in a blender. The olive oil, the citrus fruit, I like to add a little ice to chill it to make it taste a little better. I put a little stevia in it. You don't have to because it's sweet from the fruit or the grapefruit. You blend it really good. You'll see it gets emulsified. And then when you drink it, you're going to drink it really fast through a straw. You need to finish it within 2 to 5 minutes. Then you're going to lay on your right side immediately. And you're going to lay on the couch or in bed. You're going to already have the TV set up, whatever you want to watch on TV. You're going to have maybe a cup of peppermint tea just in case you get nauseous, so that you can sip on that after you do the drink. Normally, I feel great and I don't need that, but I always have it there. And so I do the drink really fast. I drink it down, lay on my right side because your liver's on your right side. And it's literally like going to be like a slip and slide and pass through the liver and pass all those stones out of the body, okay, or into the intestine. And you're going to lay there for at least 20 to 30 minutes without moving. I'd like you to stay there for at least an hour. But some people, they actually have to go to the bathroom, be it from all the magnesium. So before you lay down, you want to make sure you try to go to the bathroom to see if you need to go before. And then you're going to lay down, do the drink, lay down, and just stay there, watch your TV or lay in bed. After an hour, you can get up, you can flip to the other side, not a big deal. You should be going to the bathroom, major diarrhea, where it's clear. And then hopefully you'll start seeing some stones. Typically they're yellow or green and they look like little peas. I have people that get thousands of stones out off the bat. I've got people that just get a couple out. I've got people that get none out, and then 3 days later they go get a colonic and they all come out in the colonic. They can come out for the next week. Regardless of what comes out, you just did a marathon and your body is saying, thank you, thank you, thank you. It is doing good. So a lot of people get frustrated if they don't see the stones. That's not the case. That could be that you just barely cracked the door open, and the second one is like the floodgates. So really be open to it. You should also know that when your liver is where you store anger and frustration. So when you're doing the liver pills, you might relive some anger and frustration, and things might stir up some emotions from the past. But once the liver flush ends, all of it's relieved and you'll feel so much better. It's like this big aha moment. And I do recommend getting a colonic if you're open to it afterwards. I also recommend doing one a couple days beforehand if you want to make sure things are cleaned out. We'll go over this again next week a little bit, but if you have any questions, you can email me or put it in the group chat. And then also, if you're not going like liquid diarrhea, then you'll want to do a 3rd dose of Mago7 the next morning. Alrighty, and make sure you look at the notes in the email. I really go through the explanation, and we're out of time. So I hope all of that was helpful, and there's no questions in the chat. So I hope you guys enjoy your Monday holiday if you're on holiday, and want you to know I'm super grateful for you, and I'm super grateful for the love that has been expressed in the group chat over Tammy's situation. And it just fortified my belief in the group education, because we are here to support each other with health and within other areas of our life. We have created a community of support. So use it, lean on it, and I'm so grateful for all of you. Thanks for joining me today, and I'll post this as soon as it's uploaded to YouTube. Alrighty, guys, have a good afternoon.